Oh my God, welcome to She's Good. Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
My name is Julia.
I'm Katie.
I'm Mary Beth.
And we did introduce ourselves at the top of this episode, unlike most. But also, unlike most episodes, this one is a little bit different, and it's a little bit exciting because we have with us today a very special guest joining us for Le Pod. So if everyone, at home or wherever you're listening to this, would just stop whatever you're doing and applaud and then send that to us in a TikTok. Welcome to She's Good, Leia Gibbard.
Yay.
Thank you. I felt like the opening of a game where you run out like the Detroit Lions. Like you just were like, such a buildup.
Yeah, that's the only intro I know. And then you slap our hands and then we do like the
triangle bridge tunnel.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah,
oh my gosh, I miss doing that.
That is something I forgot about till you just brought it up.
Yeah, same.
Highlight of all games at the end.
Oh, win or lose.
I truly miss it. Win, lose or draw, we're doing the tunnel.
Do the tunnel.
Oh my God, that is funny. Real quick, at what age do we stop that?
I feel like high school we still did it. Maybe senior year high school, you're like, nope.
You're like, I'm over this.
Yeah. I can't do this anymore, you guys.
I am 18 now. I will not tunnel.
Yeah, I don't need my permission slip signed anymore. I can not tunnel.
And check myself out of school if I'd like.
So we're excited to have you on the podcast today. We wanted to talk to you because, Leia, you played softball as a youth and through I mean, would we call 18 an adult?
I think it's considered an adult.
Okay, cool.
Up until college, when I tried out, did not make the team, and then continued to play rec league with any employer that had a rec softball league.
Nice.
But you went to college at
That's smart.
Michigan State, right?
I did. So I tried out for state's team, and that was my first ever. Not only like second string, but like you didn't even make the team.
Well,
okay,
I mean,
but the fact that you like
Big Ten,
the fact
that you even were gonna try out is impressive.
It's hard. I also, just to give context here, like the school that I went to growing up did not have a great softball league, or I don't remember the divisions, but I feel like was it the further you went, the less probably competitive it was. I don't know, but I just remember like we didn't have the best softball league, so that was always apparent when you would go into tournaments and you would play like Division I.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's a clear difference in skill level here.
Where did you go again?
So I went to Lahser High School,
right.
which is now Bloomfield Hills High School. So they merged with our rivals at the time.
I think
that
my high school we played.
Yeah.
Oh God, Degrassi again.
Huge plot point.
That's actually based off my life. I'm just kidding. But the high school, like the softball team there, we had a different coach every single year I was there. Like it was just not stable. So that kind of, I think, contributed to just not really having a strong, like.
Oh, that does not set you up for success. Well, and I should say we all, so the four of us know each other because we all grew up in Michigan. So Lahser being everybody who's listening to this is going to know this.
Oh yeah, I should have said like everyone knows.
No, not at all. I should have. Yeah, so we all know each other from the comedy community, obviously including Leia, and so Lahser but real quick, because I'm stuck on this. Lahser and Bloomfield Hills, at the time that you were playing, were rivals.
They were called Andover High School, so they actually
that was
the
Andover?
site is on. Yeah, so Andover was our rival high school, and they ended up combining schools, and I think the site is on like where Andover used to be, but they renamed it Bloomfield High School just because both schools were in Bloomfield Hills. So
yeah, I think we played you guys.
Farmington, right? Based on your sweatshirt. Okay.
Yep.
Yes. Farmington was one of the schools we played. So,
Okay.
No, you're good. I was just going to say it was very different from when I grew up. I went to a Catholic school through basically 8th grade. So going to like Lahser High School, like the sports dynamic was very different. So, but
yeah. Oh my. Yeah. It's so different playing like a CYO, like the Catholic League, and then hopping over to, yeah. I played volleyball with my Catholic church, and I was like the one kid who did not go to the Catholic school, but they like still let you do it if you were part of the parish. Oh my gosh, those girls did not like the public school kid. Me.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, okay. So in my mind, when I was growing up, CYO leagues were usually like pretty good. And that might have been, I feel like Livonia just had strong sports all around because that's like all people did. But I remember this, like the CYO leagues being like, oh, you play CYO?
Well, I was on the B team.
Okay.
So
that's so interesting. I remember being in the league and having a couple girls on our team coming from the public school, and they ended up being one of my closest friends, like at least one of them. My mom gave us the decision like our 8th grade year that we could either continue going to this Catholic school or switch to public school. And I was like, yeah, I would like to go to public school. And that's when I made the switch over. And all of my like good friends were having met through softball. Like,
oh, that's so cool.
I love that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think part of it was I mostly had guy friends. Like I felt like I connected more with guys originally, and then through sports is where I met the girls that I would get along with. So
yeah, there's something like so like there's something so fun about the sports dynamic for girls. I feel like because you're like going to tournaments and you're like practicing all the time. And there's just like, you kind of like have no choice but to become friends with those people and to develop like this level of intimacy, like very quickly, because you have to like be cohesive and like do good stuff on the field.
You
so
have to be a team if you would.
oh my gosh, that's actually, totally.
Team
but
player, team building, teamwork.
Team sport. Yeah. No, but definitely I feel like it kind of fosters that like closeness and like, yeah, I always had really good friendships when I played sports.
So
I think, sorry.
No, go.
Oh, I was just going to say that, that year, my transition from like Catholic school to public school, I remember I think it was the county like threw on activities where you'd get in the mail like an activity booklet, and it was free if you lived within the county. So my parents would always, like, both of them worked full time, so it was always just like, oh look, there's a softball league, like you can join that, and it was essentially free. So yeah, that helped my transition so much from starting into a public school my 8th grade year where I knew no one and everyone had pretty much been going to school with each other forever, to have been in that softball league, because my first day I like just zoned in on who I knew from softball.
Yeah. So did you start playing like when you were like an elementary school kid, or was it like...
I did a lot of sports. I think soccer was the first one, because I definitely feel like that rec league was like something almost every kid I went to school with. Like, I don't know if all parents talk to each other and we're like, they gotta go. Soccer's like fundamental to life. So I played soccer, but I was never aggressive enough. Like, I was never aggressive enough for soccer. I was always defense, and I just could never focus to where I don't know, my head wasn't in it. I felt like soccer required a lot more stamina than like softball.
Yeah.
Yep. When I played softball, it was just great because there's this mental component to it that like, and you're not necessarily getting physical with somebody. You don't have that physical contact all the time where you can still be competitive, but it's more about strategy versus, you know, who's not going to back down, which I felt like was more in soccer of like, you're, successful if you're playing offense, if you are aggressive. So,
and
with soccer too, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, there's also a lot of breaks in softball.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Well, I think a lot of people think it's boring, and I get it. Like, I totally am like, if I was a spectator and I didn't understand, like if I wasn't in the game, I totally see when people tell me like, oh, it's so boring. But for me, I'm like, oh my God, the count is like 2-1. What are they going to pitch?
I think it's exciting too, but like I would never have the endurance to be able to play a sport where you just run back and forth nonstop. But like softball, like I can sprint for like where like these different plays and then like take a breather.
And for me, I pitched. So they actually would have a pinch runner run for me. Like I would get to bat occasionally. So I had like the best of both worlds. I would like bat and hit it. And then as soon as I got on first, they'd be like, pinch runner, and put someone else in.
Okay, I ran 60 feet today.
Nice. I did it. Got my steps in.
Yeah. Oh man, that's awesome.
When did you start playing fast pitch, or did you like start with fast pitch? That seems weird to me if you did that.
Yeah, it's actually funny because I remember this Bloomfield Hills like softball league that I used to play in. We had there was, I don't know if it was just the head of it or what his role was, but he used to like jump from, I think there were 4 diamonds where people would play concurrently and he would jump around and watch. And I think it was right before my 8th grade year when I ended up switching schools that he saw me and he kind of was like, I see potential in you as a pitcher. I want you to keep at it. And at the time I wasn't like, I would say it was more slow pitch. And he went, I want you to focus on speed and not accuracy. And I did that. And he was like, you have a great arm. You're fast. And I don't want you to care where you throw it. And that really, like at a young age, was great advice because I started off strong, started off like throwing fast pitch, but my accuracy was so bad. And I hit girls so much. And girls would literally not want to go up to the plate. Like they would start crying and they would like tell their coach that they didn't want to go up. And I would get yelled at that I was doing it on purpose. And I felt so bad. And he kept telling me, you just got to stick with it. And the accuracy will come with practice. And I eventually got a pitching coach. Like I was very into it for a while where my dad like would drive me every Sunday to go see this pitching coach. And like he had this room that was basically just like, I don't even know, but like cameras that would take even from a side view, like you would watch yourself after, and he would compare you to like professional pitchers at the time and perform. And I just remember being like, I'm going to be on the USA team one day. And that obviously didn't happen, but
yeah. You are in my heart. We have been talking about how this next year's Olympics, everyone's going to have COVID and they're going to have to come to us, the
second string.
Yeah, the second string. Yeah.
You're going to make it.
Yeah, no one's reached out yet, but
but that's so cool that you, as a kid, you saw that for yourself.
Yeah.
Because I played softball, I played soccer, I played like a couple different sports. That was never something that was ever in my mind. And that's not, I don't think that's a like commentary on like how good of a player I was or anything. I think it's more like a commentary on like what I saw for myself and what my own limitations of like, you know, dreaming of something like that. Yeah, exactly. So the fact that you were like, I'm going to play for Team USA one day, that to me is like so cool. Yeah. That
What's
you saw that for yourself.
Is I think about it and I compare it to like, I have people that I know that had like a very influential teacher in their life, like that pushed them. Mm-hmm. I never had that at all in the classroom. I don't have one teacher that I think kind of connected with me. I think I got by. I think I passed with, you know, just being like, I'm going to do well enough where nobody has to like talk to me and, but not good enough that they're going to like push me any harder than I need to. I'm just going to get by. And to have someone that I had like going into 8th grade really, who right off the bat was like, I'm going to prep you. He was actually the coach for my high school my freshman year. So before, I don't know what went down where he stopped after that, but it really helped because he was like, we're going to prime you for high school. I like went in, they had a rigorous like tryout and I was all excited and about like the possibility of being on varsity my freshman year. I was like, how cool is that? And it happened, but it like, it was very interesting because of just the dynamic with other girls and like our coach, you know, changing year to year. So yeah, I definitely, I think I also had a girl that I clicked really well with who was also a pitcher, and she was a year above me. So when I started my freshman year, she like very much took me under her wing, and I can totally see how pitchers could be competitive because you're like, you know, there can only be one pitcher on the field at a time or on the diamond at a time. So I was really lucky that she never kind of looked at me as like competition, and more so would like invite me to go train with her. Like we would go to the high school on weekends and just pitch together. She's the one who like told me about the softball camps that I would go to. She was the one who introduced me to the pitching coach that I went to because she was going to him. Like, so
I want to cry.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Truly, people.
That was really great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, so were you on varsity as a freshman?
I was, but I also was like dual where they also asked me to come down to freshman games. So I would play for varsity games, but then also play for the JV games occasionally when they needed it. Because they didn't have a JV pitcher and they were like, well,
we need you.
But, yeah. Especially when you play double headers a lot and they don't necessarily want to play the same pitcher for both games. So the fact that there was really only one there, they were like, you know, we want two. We don't want you to.
So you almost kind of got like double the games that you would have gotten.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I didn't mind at all. Most of my friends actually were on JV because, you know, like besides me, there was one other girl who made varsity as a freshman, and she went to this other school called International Academy, which I don't know if they didn't have their own sports teams or what, but
they did not. Yeah, they didn't. Yeah.
So
is that the one? We don't have to get into this now, but is that the one that you riffed with, or she would get like jealous of you?
We were very competitive, I think, her and I. Yeah, we were competitive, but she wasn't. It was funny because I feel like it was somewhat of a healthy competition. But it was always like, you know, oh, I'm not the only freshman who made varsity. There's someone else, you know. And they used to have a tournament every year that was dedicated to someone who had passed away who used to play softball at Lahser, and it was called, her name was Stacy Scheib, and they used to have like the Scheib tournament every year, and like schools would come and play, and there was a banner, and every year like one person got recognized and your name would get on the banner, and I still remember her name got on the banner and I didn't get on the banner.
No.
Well, that's it matters anymore because
it does
matter.
The school has been erased. I like went online to try to find any information. Like,
it's fully Bloomfield and there never was an Andover and there never was a Lahser before.
They're like, Stacy who?
They forgot about her too.
R.I.P.
Yeah. But it was, I mean, everyone I feel like got along really well. So that's what's, I don't know, great about, I feel like, team sports when you have a group of people who connect like that, because you spend so much time together, like you're, you know, every day after school or whatever it is, then on the weekends. And so.
And I think that you brought up, like, to have the non-competitive, just like building each other up relationship, like those are so important to have, whether, I mean, huge to have it from a coach or like an authority figure, but also huge to have it from a peer. And I know she was a little bit older than you, but like it is, and maybe that helped, but it is like a lot of times there is just like built-in competition, and to have that person that's gonna like be like, come with me to come train or whatever is, I mean, that's true. That's huge.
Yeah. And that wasn't, I do remember there were a few girls who were seniors my freshman year that I think gave me a lot harder of a time. And because I think there is a little bit of that, you need to go through this because you need to earn your spot here. And I was terrified of them. So it was helpful to have anybody be like nice to me.
Tell me if this is true for you. For soccer, like the seniors would terrorize us. They were so mean, and they were like, you don't know, this is what you do, this is what happens. And when we were seniors, we were like not mean at all.
And
you guys and freshmen were little brats. Sorry for listening, but you got away with shit. And we were like, you guys don't know how good you have it right now.
Yeah, I think there was one girl specifically who was a senior my freshman year that she really scared me, because we used to have where batting practice, they would have me pitch to everyone. So I would pitch, and like I said, it took a little bit for me to like hone in on not being so wild, because I would just try to throw hard. I was like, he'd literally be like, throw through her glove. Like, don't even, it's not even like you're playing catch and just throwing it to the catcher. Like, imagine it, through her, just trying to throw it as hard as you can. And eventually like switching up into, curveballs and drop balls or whatever. But like, it was very much speed and like, how hard could you throw it? And this girl like terrified me so much, where she went up to bat and she was like, if you hit me, I'm going to kill you, and just looked me in the eyes. And it got me to where I accidentally hit her. Like, and I didn't do it on purpose, but she like threw the bat, and I was like, she's going to storm the mound. I'm dead. Like,
yeah. So she threw the bat, so she couldn't hit you with it.
Yeah. That was just like a rage that I was like, it's warranted. I get her frustration, because she's like, don't hit me. It's a simple ask.
It really always liked to get hit in a game, not in practice, obviously. But I always like to get hit in a game, because then you get on base automatically.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you ever have the girl on your team who would just milk it? Like it would.
Oh, God, yeah.
But it was like, oh, if it looks like it hit me, then I can take the base. So it'd be like, ow. And you're like, that didn't
totally. Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely a little bit of like showmanship to getting hit by a ball, for sure.
Yeah. Did you ever make anyone bleed?
I don't think I made anyone bleed, thankfully.
I have a memory when I was like 4 or 5, when I played t-ball. I gave a girl a bloody nose, and I remember it like it was yesterday, because I was like, man, I'm strong.
Crowning achievement.
Her in the face with the ball. Got her good.
Man, I'm strong. So Leah, like, you had this sort of like partnership almost with this like pitcher who was older than you, and like it seems like she was like a role model to you in a lot of ways, but like, was there a like professional women's sports person, or not even a woman, but was there like a professional athlete that you kind of looked up to when you were a kid?
Yes, it was funny, because I was actually talking to Julia about this, like, I feel like it was a few weeks ago, where and I was surprised I even remembered names, because it feels like a lifetime ago. But like Jenny Finch was the pitcher at the time who like her name was everywhere. Everyone could like know nothing about softball, but they knew who Jenny Finch was. Yeah. And I just like, I remember her kind of being like, that's who I aspire to be. And she also was very like feminine too. Like, she didn't hide any, she would wear like her hair like really pretty and come and then like kick ass, and you'd be like, wow, she's like someone I would love to emulate. But the story I specifically told Julia that stood out to me was, I remember being like waiting for a pitching lesson with my dad, who was always like the person to drive me, and he played baseball himself, was very athletic, so was always like supporting me. And he was like, I remember this story coming out where Playboy approached her to do like a shoot with them, and she turned it down because she wanted to be like a better role model for women. And my dad was like, I just think that's so great. And I remember that like just being the standard of like what you need to aspire to be. So definitely her. And then secondly, I remember like shortly, because I think she was before like Kat Osterman also was a very big pitcher.
Yes.
Up after her, and she was a left-hander, and I remember everyone being like, oh, this left-handed pitcher. And for me, I was like, oh, and she's a brunette, which for some reason is like, I relate to her more.
Yeah.
But
she's
for
good.
some reason.
We know Kat Osterman. Have you listened to us talk about her yet?
I have not gotten there yet. I was actually going to ask, because I think I'm still on like the 5th episode maybe of listening, and I was wondering if you talked about softball at all.
Yeah.
Please do. Yeah.
Did you watch
the league?
Yeah. Did you watch Athletes Unlimited at all? The new league. Do you know what it is?
No, I don't. I'm like, embarrassingly, I have not caught it.
It's brand new, so it's okay. So it's this new league, but it's not. So Oh man, it's like individual, like there's individual winners rather than teams. So every week the teams change. You have the same like 50 or so people, but they pick new teams. The top 4 people that, like, there's a point system and you earn points based on how you play. And you get points for your teams and everything. And then the top 4 people of everyone draft new teams the next week, and then you play 3 games with those teams. So you're never on the same team, and everyone kind of plays with each other. And then at the end, there's like individual champions, and Kat Osterman was the winner of season 1. Yes, athletes.
Yeah, she's still playing. How old is she?
She came back. She's 37. We learned. The analysts would not stop talking about it. But she came out of retirement, I guess, to play for Athletes Unlimited, and then I think she's trying to get to the Olympics. I think she's trying to go to the Olympics. But yeah, she's good.
Yeah. I was wondering, because since I pitched, I assumed like because they're pitchers, I was more interested, and I wondered, like, did my teammates who were catchers, like, do they know who the catchers were at the time? I always felt bad because I felt like a catcher was like a very crucial role that got like a lot less spotlight. So I'm sad to say I don't know one catcher's name that played for like Team USA or any other like college team, because college also was something that like we would occasionally watch on TV. And like our team went and did a group trip to see U of M play like one weekend when they had a big game. Yeah, like we all went and watched and supported. So like it was definitely great to see, like you said, Katie, like look up to somebody, because if not, like then I probably would have never thought like I'm gonna be on Team USA one day.
Totally. Yeah.
But I do like that concept that you're talking about, Mary Beth, because the I felt like that's what I loved about summer leagues was you had all of these different schools, and then during the summer less people usually would play. So they would group a lot of people from different schools would play, and you would be playing some of these people who you would recall having seen on like your competition, and maybe had some like hostile feelings because people would chant, you know, like like that. I can't even remember them now, but I feel like there was some mean chants that you could say to the other team, and then all of a sudden there was this camaraderie from playing with them that you're like, okay, we were enemies and now we're not.
Turns out you're cool. Yeah, had fun.
I guess we can play.
We have a lot in common.
Yeah.
Literally as soon as the game ends.
As soon as so were you like a big like chanter / cheerer when you were, because I remember just like I remember how obnoxious it was as a player, but I also knew that I needed to do it because it was such a crucial part of the game. You know, like it was as important as like fielding the ball, you know, was cheering.
I did it a lot, and I think more so just being like good eye and, you know, shouting the typical like not your pitch.
Totally.
I think it was also a sense of like getting people to focus on the game, because it's so easy when you're it's your team's turn to bat where the rest of the dugout is like talking and, you know, like not even paying attention, and you're like, come on, we got a girl up there that we need to support, like and because the energy can definitely lead to like you could be up for 6 innings, and then the last inning, like the last half inning, if they have a rally, like all of a sudden you've lost. Like, you know,
and how important it is that everyone on the bench knows how many outs you have, and, you know, like, because that determines like what plays you're going to make if the ball comes to you, or like how you're going to bat and everything like that.
That is one thing that I wish, if I could go back, that I would have paid more attention, because so many times I would just black out. Like a ground ball would get hit to me, and then I'd be like, is there someone on third? I can't remember. Like, was there someone on second? Do I need to check third? And like, I would freeze and not, you know, like that was something that I definitely found myself to be spacey. The same thing in soccer, where it would be like, if I was defense and all the action was on the other side of the field, I would just be like looking up. Like,
but all you have to do for soccer is look up. I feel like for softball, that was my thing. There's so much you have to know and think about. And like you said, okay, if there's, all right, we've got 2 strikes and two
Yeah,
balls. This is
that
what
was-
pitch I should do. So
Plus on top of it, she's pitching. It's not like she's just like in the outfield. Like,
there actually was a silver lining to having a different coach each year, because that first coach who was like just pitch fast, pitch hard, like work on accuracy later. Then I had like after that a coach who was like, okay, you have 2 strikes on them and no balls. Don't give them a strike. Like because if you give them a strike, they have more of a chance to hit a home run off of you than if you throw a shitty pitch and then they're, it's harder for them. Yeah, they're already like worried because they have 2 strikes and they don't want to strike out. So they're probably going to swing. Give them a horrible pitch because either they miss it or it's going to go in the ground or, be a pop-up. Like, so it was always this strategy of like, why are you giving? Because I got obsessed with throwing strikes. I was like, I just want to throw strikes now. I've hit too many people.
Now that I can aim them where I want them, I want to do it.
Exactly. And then it got to be, okay, no, you can't do that. And there's a lot of power in a changeup because you've been throwing a fast pitch for, pitch after pitch. So they're not prepared for it. So
totally.
But that, and also paying attention to I also had this thing where I wouldn't even really look at like who was up to bat. Like it didn't even register. And the coach would always be like, she hit it to left field last time. And that's so powerful because you're like, yeah, if I give her the same pitch, she's going to do the same thing. We should probably be prepared. People shift there, But for me, I was just so like, I don't remember. Everyone's different to me. Like,
yeah. Well, and that's, I think, what's so important about like having the team and having everybody locked in because like
the communication. Yeah,
exactly. The person who's in left field who just like fumbled her last hit is going to be like, hey, Leah, like she just hit to me last time or,
Yeah.
I'm going to drop it again.
Yeah, totally.
I don't think there's any worse feeling though of just like having a home run be hit and being like, that was all on me. Like nobody else on this field made that home run happen, but me giving her a strike that was something she knocked out of the park.
As like a player who was not a pitcher, I can like say definitively that anybody else was like, I'm so glad that wasn't me. And also like, I could not be pitching in this game. So thank God it's not me, also, so like, no matter what you did or whatever.
Yeah. I don't think ever when I was playing, if someone got a home run, I would be mad. Like, I don't think I ever blamed the pitcher. I think I just was like, oh, she's good at hitting.
That was in my head. I was like, oh.
Yeah. I think my brother was a pitcher for his whole life. And also now works in like sports statistics and like their main clients are Major League Baseball teams. And it's just wild to me, like the probability and the math and the analysis that goes into a sport like baseball. I mean, you can do it with other sports, but it's just like, I never saw Moneyball, but I imagine it's kind of like that. Also, that's my brother's software that's in that movie. So that's just, that's why I think it's so wild that you had a coach that was just like, as hard as you can.
Yeah. And then I also remember, so that second coach who was very strategic with like, okay, if the count's this, you should probably pitch this way. Like he also was like, okay, well, when you're not pitching, like we're going to have you play first or third because the distance to the, the home plate is more similar versus second or shortstop because like you're used to your response time. Like if the ball is hit to you, the mound is a lot closer than where second and short usually stand. Yeah. So like that would throw me off because you're not used to that extra couple seconds or whatever.
Yeah.
So he knew that and he'd be like, okay, well, we're going to play you at third. We're going to play you at first because those are much closer than short and second where they would usually play. So those were like my secondary positions. So it was very interesting just to like learn things like that from different coaches who were like, this is how I play.
Yeah, totally.
What was your grip for a changeup? Can you show?
Oh, you would hold it with your entire palm, like literally every hand. Yeah. Okay. Like you would just grip it super hard. And then like the release also, like where you release was very important. Oh. So like you would try to release at your hip and usually a change up, you would kind of hold on to it a little bit longer.
Okay.
So there were different,
Was that fun to learn?
Yeah, it was fun. It's actually really embarrassing when you like don't execute it right, though. So if you can imagine,
like
the
this
learning
instead of like
process.
this.
It goes straight up.
Really, you throw it backwards. Just do a double.
That's
pinwheel.
true.
That
is
actually
so
happened a lot.
serious.
When it goes like straight up and it's at like 10 miles an hour because you're trying to like pull the speed back. So it's embarrassing. But when it works, it works. And it's a lot harder. They also taught me like just the speed of you pitching it is helping the momentum of like them batting. So like if it's a fast pitch, it's easier to hit farther or faster than if it's a slow pitch. So like also, if it's a certain speed, they might not be able to hit it as well. So I don't know.
That makes sense.
Batting is something I always wanted to be good at and I was not good at. So
Yeah, I was never very good either.
I was not good at fast pitch. I'm a rec league girl in just my life.
Well, it's so different. It's again like the timing. It's like waiting for, the pitch versus it just coming there.
When you play slow pitch for like 10 years and then suddenly they throw you into fast pitch and it's just like, what is happening here?
I've said this whenever I watch softball, it is wild to me that anybody hits a ball because those balls are coming so fast and it's like seems like such a short distance. I mean, obviously long enough, but like a short distance from that your brain has to process from when the ball leaves the pitcher's hand to when it gets to the plate.
And that's another reason why. Oh, I was just going to say why I remember as a batter always wanting to swing like at every, it was hard to wait for your pitch, as they say.
Yes, like, totally. I remember like reading something about like how it's harder to hit a softball fast pitch than it is to hit like a baseball like at 90 miles per hour versus a softball like at 65 or 70, just because the distance is so much shorter. Okay. And the way, and it not being thrown like the angle that it's harder to hit it.
I think it is interesting because our school used to play one game of the year where the baseball team would play the softball team. And it was my favorite because all the guys who kind of like, I felt like had their noses up.
Yep.
I would pitch and like whenever I got a strike on them, I just felt so good about myself. I was like, we can play, it's not like you're out of my league. So that always felt good. But
I definitely feel like that's a sport where you could do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny when you talk about the ball, because also like the neonness of it. There was a girl on our team who had these special glasses, these sunglasses where it like would make the ball stand out more. And I just remember being like, that's a whole nother level. But like she's getting this special equipment to see the
like
ball.
Superhero vision to hit.
Did it work for her? Was she good?
I remember those. Yeah.
It was actually the same, the pitcher who kind of took me under her wing. She was very dedicated and like, so I remember when she got these glasses and was like, try them on. And it was crazy because it almost made everything seem dull and then just, or just duller colors. And then this like bright ball that if you're trying to keep an eye on, I guess
that's
nice.
Wild.
Like lights up. That would be good. I feel for like outfield too, because like if you're in the sun, it would stand out better.
Yeah. And she did usually play outfield if she wasn't pitching. So that's I don't know.
Cool. Well, that's
how many people use it, but
then I wonder, because I was listening to this interview where, do you know, I don't think she's a professional player. I think just she was played at Stanford, but Jessica Becerra. Does anyone know who that is?
I don't.
Okay. Well, she has a podcast about softball and she's interviewed Kat Osterman and everybody else. And so she asks people at the end, like different like fashion questions and like whatever, just like kind of rapid fire of like yes or no. And so something that was coming up was like, okay, visors, sunglasses, eye black, whatever. I just feel like there's a lot of fashion. And by the way, for anybody watching, you can see I have my visor on.
That volunteer visor.
Oh, also, yeah, my volunteer visor. Remember when people would wear them like this, though, for real?
I absolutely do and did.
My first question to you, I have a lot of fashion questions.
Yeah.
Do all softball players, is it always visors? That does make sense if you have long hair.
I think, yeah, I do remember wearing one when I was younger. I stopped for a while because there was a point where I actually remember like hitting it with my windmill, like when, you know, in the motion. And I never liked wearing sunglasses, but it was kind of necessary if the sun is directly, you know, there. So I just remember preferring not having anything.
Yeah.
Like I would just wear my hair in a ponytail. I also have like a shape of my head shape does not function well with headbands. They just like squeeze off. So every time I tried to wear one,
That
they were
happens
just
with
like
my head too.
I don't get it. I'm like, does nobody else have this problem?
Yeah. They just like by the time you're done, they're just like a little beanie on the back of your head, like around the
yeah. So I really didn't wear much other. I did occasionally have the visor when I was younger, and then as I got older, I would just prefer nothing. But for a while, they actually mandated we wear face masks as a pitcher because this one pitcher in our league had gotten a ball right back to the face, like a line drive that hit her, and they started like mandating that you wear these face masks that were clear. And so there was a good year or two before they stopped making it mandatory and I stopped wearing it because I realized I actually was like more afraid. I don't know why I felt like afraid more with it.
It like would make you just more aware that it could happen.
Yeah.
Or like
But
it would shatter in your face or something.
Yeah. The transition too was just like of being like, okay, I'm not going to wear this anymore. It was kind of weird because it was like, now I feel exposed and I feel like my life has been changed in a negative way where I'm like, I don't know, scared. But there were, I mean, that occasionally happened. Thankfully, never for me other than directly in the shin. Like I definitely have gotten a line drive like back at the shin, but that was probably it. And thankfully no major injuries. So.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I think the worst injury I ever had when I played was I pulled my groin because of the form of like pitching and how you would kind of leap and push off the mound. So they had this like I think they called it a stem machine in our have you been on one or had one of those hooked up to you? It's like they send like electric pulses through your body. And it's so for me it was like ticklish and I was very uncomfortable. And that same girl I hit who was a senior who was like, I'm gonna kill you if you hit me, and then I hit her. She hooked me up to the stem machine and she cranked it up and she was like
She should only be.
She was like the assistant to the. I forget what they called it, but like there were certain
athletic trainer.
Yeah, she was an athletic trainer. So she was the one to be like, "Come on, don't be a baby." She was like turning it up. I was like,
absolutely effed.
Was it to heal you, or was it to like just figure out what was going on with you?
No, it's supposed to, I think, like help the healing process. Yeah. So
it like stimulates the muscles. If it's like there's any soreness or injury or whatever, it's supposed to like stimulate muscles in a way that like you can't manually. But it is weird. It feels like a constant shock, and you can turn it up high, of course, or it's wild. I get it on my knee at physical therapy, and I don't like it.
How is your knee doing?
Who cares?
Are you you're still a pro athlete with your
Yep, I'm still a pro athlete. I've been doing my exercises and they same
thing.
Well, some of them hurt and it's not supposed to hurt, but some of them I'm like, what's gonna change if I just keep doing this same thing over and over? And then it's just, I don't know. It doesn't matter. I'm like annoyed. But I also haven't been able to go into physical therapy because I have been quarantining. But today's the last day. So, but then they didn't have any open appointments until Friday. So really that's where I'm at. No change. It's frustrating. I try not to think about it.
Same old. Yeah.
Sorry to bring it up.
No, it's fine. It's honestly fine.
Man.
Okay, I have one other question for you. What is a bat flip?
A bat flip?
Everybody
God, I
was
feel
asking about it on this. People talk about it as softball culture. Like, is it just
like when you just toss it in your hand before? Or I honestly don't know. I want to Google this now because I'm
Is it where you like have the bat like on your palm and then you like catch it the other way?
The Rosie
That's what
O'Donnell
I thought.
League of Their Own.
That's what I thought too. But then they were all talking about it as like, oh, it's not good sportsmanship.
Oh,
So
I know
it
what
might
it
be
is.
like
It's
when you
probably when you hit and then you throw, you like flip it.
Oh, yeah.
I bet it's that when you go take your base
Okay.
or you like run the bases. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, Google is saying that if you throw the bat in a way where it rotates several times before landing, like to show off after hitting a home run is what this definition is saying.
It's like a showy, like if you saw it, you would be like, oh, that person's cocky.
I didn't actually realize it was on purpose. Like people were doing it because there were definitely girls who would get in trouble they would just call it throwing the bat. They'd be like, you threw the bat.
Right.
Like because you were putting the catcher in danger.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Or like you would just like toss it to the side, but you don't have to like actually throw it. You just
But people
you're supposed to just basically drop it once you make you're supposed to
just run.
Yeah.
People were totally talking about it like, okay, do you bat flip or do you not? And it's like, they were like, if you bat flip, then I will bat flip at your ass. And I'm like, damn. Okay, but that is totally YouTube doesn't want
it might be like, I wonder because throwing the bat is like could be unintentional. I wonder if they're using bat flip as because this actually said like showing off after home run. So if you hit a home run and then you're just like try to flip it to toss it because you're like, I could take my time. I could stroll around these bases.
I feel like you see it in the MLB a lot. They kind of like look over and like give like a little look at the pitcher and flip their bat and go around.
You know, I am supportive of a bat flip after you hit a home run. That's something that's really hard to do. It's something I've never done in my entire life. And I think, you know what? If you hit it, you hit it.
People make
whenever
it
I got a good hit. Whenever I got a good hit, I just like was so excited. I just took off. Yeah. Like I never like took my time. I ran as fast as possible. I was so excited. And
it's always disheartening when they're like foul and you're like, no.
It was so close.
It felt so good.
It was straight.
Yeah. Because you can tell when it leaves your bat, like if it's gonna go.
Yeah, you know.
You can tell. So if it goes
hit that
out,
sweet spot.
Man.
Okay, so do any of you have any thoughts or feelings about the fact that the Olympics like eliminated softball as a sport?
This was going to be my question too.
It's coming back.
Eliminated
though, right?
Well, they're bringing it back for Japan, but it's not like permanently back.
Oh, it's
what's the deal? So they eliminated it
just for the Tokyo Olympics.
Why did
I guess because the US had won like so many times. I wonder if I think it was just like it's not competitive.
I thought that they had cut several sports at that time.
They did, and that was one of them.
I don't know if that's like I thought it was just because it was like a tournament style, like it was a lot and there's a lot of people, but I guess it was a long time ago. I just remember that they cut it and I saw that it was coming back. So I don't really know.
Yeah, I was curious because I haven't looked into like what the reasoning is. But I was trying to look up like the salary. I was trying to look up like the salary of a professional softball player, and I think like Google the top result will be like, an average of like $5,000 to $6,000, and I was like, wait, is this right? Yeah. Like, and there was actually one of the girls who was on, I don't know if it was Team USA or a college team, but she had tweeted like that the New York Yankees bat boys salary is higher than her professional softball contract.
Oh my God.
And it got deleted, but it was just to show like how little they make. And I was like, that can't be right. Like,
yeah.
what?
It's throughout women's sports that low or like comparison, not
it's sickening.
high compared to like the male leagues. It's not great.
But like listening to your first few episodes though, I was like, no, I can totally do a better job at like tuning in and watching.
Hosting this podcast?
Yeah, you definitely do a better job than them.
Supporting, women in sports because I don't watch, and part of me always thought it's okay because I made the excuse that like I just get antsy. I watch and I'm like, I want to play. Like that's what happens. Is I watch and I'm just like, okay, well, like we could just play.
Totally.
I'm like, so.
I think that if you do start watching them, you will get hooked, because we were like, oh, let's like we started watching the Challenge Cup and I was like, oh, I've never watched this sport, but I cannot stop now. And then like with the WNBA, I have no idea what was happening. I still am not quite there with basketball, but I can't stop watching it. Yeah.
It is so addictive. I don't know, but it's so much fun. And
what is the main way you watch? Are you, because I am like a cable cutter, you know, cord cutter or whatever, like mostly subscribing to like Hulu, Netflix. So is it like, how do you stream it? Or
if you get the ESPN streaming, that helps. Okay. I live with my parents, so I have every single channel. So I'm not the person to ask.
Nice. Okay. Well, that's the one thing, like, I don't even know how I watch this right now.
Well, the soccer games that we had been watching were on CBS All Access. So that's a subscription. And then the WNBA, some of their games are streamed live on Twitter or Facebook. Some of them are on like ESPN or ABC. And then some of them are on the WNBA has like an app and a league pass that you can, you have to buy it, but to watch them. But it's not expensive or anything.
Yeah. They had enough platforms that you could catch several of them. Like even if you just only had one. Like, even if you just had access to Facebook and Twitter, you could still watch a lot of games in the season.
And once the pandemic's, like, not over, because it's, I don't know when that's ever going to happen, but you're in a WNBA market and an NWSL market. So you can go to, like, the New York Liberty games in Brooklyn, or you can go with Julia to New Jersey to see
Get ready.
Sky Blue soccer team play. So
you've been a guest on our podcast, and now you are the world's biggest sports fan and have to go to all the games.
Yes,
that's how it happens.
They're so fun.
It is so fun. That's why I think like people. I mean, this is kind of whatever, but that's why when people are like softball is boring or baseball is boring, I think the ambiance of games does so much for any sport. I just think it's like, this is just like so fun to be here. I never know what's going on at Tigers games, but I love being there.
It is exciting.
Being there really does change the sport experience though. Though I will defend my position that baseball is boring only because they've analyzed the fun out of it and made it like so nobody hits the ball anymore.
I think that I still enjoy watching it. Like I'll watch it on TV casually, and I like going to games. The Athletes Unlimited League, though, very exciting. Always very high scoring games.
It's softball.
Yeah, always high scoring. Tons of home runs. Definitely when that comes back, give it a watch.
Definitely need to check that out. I have not watched anything. I went through a period where I was a big Tigers fan, and I think it lasted for like a season, and then there was a lot of changeover, and I was like, I don't even know these players anymore. This isn't, like fun.
What did I get invested for?
That was like eye-opening to me, because I was like, why have I never gotten into this? And then I started, and then the next season I was like, I feel like I'm restarting, and it's hard. I have to watch every game. No,
I don't know what it is. I just think, and this is probably because I am a woman, but women are just so much more interesting to watch. And okay, when you said that like Kat Osterman was a brunette, like I literally think when you see representation in yourself in some of these players, I feel like you're like, okay, I see a way in, which is obviously, for myriad reasons why it's so important to have representation in sports. But I really think that's like goes so far.
Yeah. For sure. Because I also think Jenny Finch was like 7 feet. No, that's an exaggeration. But she also was a lot taller than me, where I was like, oh, you have to be that tall to be,
You have to be 7 feet tall to make it as a pitcher in the softball world.
Yeah. Well, it's funny when we were watching the WNBA and I was watching some of these players, and it was like, yes, Crystal Dangerfield is 5'5". I was like, oh, excuse me, are you telling me that I could have played basketball This is bullshit.
Mhm.
You could be a
They all
little
said you
female-
needed to be at least
a little
5'9".
lady Muggsy Bogues out there.
Yes.
This whole
Oh,
time was
I
assholes.
don't know why Muggsy Bogues is the one basketball player that I know who he is and is always my go-to. 'Cause
Yeah,
he's
that's the
short.
only one I know.
I know nothing else.
I just know
Wait,
this guy.
basketball? Is that what you said?
Yeah, he's the short. He's like known
He's
for
like
being super short.
He was like he played
Oh.
probably in like the 90s and was short, and
Yeah,
that was
Okay.
what I know about him.
That's his claim to fame.
Muggsy Bogues and like Grant Hill. Those are the people that I know.
And Rasheed Wallace.
Yeah.
I mean, he was later. He was 2000s, but I still
I
say
do remember that era. Was it like 2004?
Yeah, when
Yep.
they won
This is
back to
one?
back.
I
Beat
guaranteed it.
Rashid
Ben
and Ben,
Wallace,
the
Rasheed.
Wallaces.
Ben Wallace's, yeah.
Who's the guy
Yep.
that wore the glasses?
Rip Hamilton?
Rip Hamilton.
Yeah.
Well, he had the face
Yeah,
mask.
yeah.
Oh, he had the face
That's
mask.
what I meant.
But you guys, we're talking about men, and
We're talking about men. Ew.
Katie hates that.
Ew.
Katie hates when we do that.
I don't like it.
Oh, God.
No, I need to watch. I would like to get into like watching soccer, and because I have not watched any women's soccer. I feel like I don't know anybody other like. If you ask me like what soccer player I know, I'd be like Mia Hamm, and that's embarrassing. 'Cause how,
No,
like,
be-
long
that's
ago was
not
it that-
embarrassing
It's not
because she was a star. She was a star.
Icon.
Like that was one of those moments that is I still remember, like when she tore off her shirt and was just in her sports bra.
That was Brandy
like,
Chastain. But yes.
Same era though. Same era.
Same era.
Okay.
They were
Same
on the
team.
same. Yeah, they were on the same team though. Yeah.
Yes, they were, and they both won that game.
But the fact that you remember that
Yes.
moment is like so.
I remember that moment
Yeah.
and not being in tune with soccer. I was like, that's Mia Hamm. Like, this is why I need to pay more attention and learn names.
I feel like when was
They
that though?
need the credit
99?
due
We
to
were
them.
like young for that though.
Yeah.
So it's okay
Yeah.
to not know who that person was.
Yeah. But there
Whatever.
is, Leah, a game on Friday, a women's soccer game.
Coming up.
I'll text you the deets because
Yeah, let me know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a
Try and watch.
it's a women's national team friendly. They're playing the Netherlands.
You and Mike
so-
should come over and watch it. This is how you know about games: is you have a calendar
People who
that
you watch it with
He,
and
he updates a calendar and you
Okay.
see them come up on your Google Calendar and you know when they are and what channel they're on.
we should do a
you guys
segment.
should watch it together. That would be amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Because Julia's a good one to watch it with
Because she
you're
can
like,
tell you what's
wait,
happening.
what does
I
that
know.
mean? Yeah. I'm like,
Julia
wait,
did
why
teach
did they
me-
just blow the whistle?
Yeah.
And she'll be like, that's offsides. And then she'll
Julia
explain
did teach
offsides
me
to you.
every single thing I know about soccer, which is
Aw.
a very basic soccer knowledge, but I didn't know it prior to June of 2020.
literally
Julia-
honored.
Julia took me to my first National Women's Soccer
Huh.
League game.
Julia, you're our
Yeah,
hero.
that's very true.
Slowly converting everybody to be a
Well,
sports
look,
fan.
This podcast has helped me grow very much because I was the same thing. I was like barely even watching NWSL. Was like, yeah, really not watching NWSL games. Of course, every time the World Cup or the Olympics came around, I was all about the national team. But aside from that, I wasn't watching the WNBA. And like you, like it was hard to like.
I'm just gonna say what she was
there
saying,
she
which
is.
was probably like
She
she
back.
watched the World Cup when it came along.
She
Because that's what I would do too. Yeah. She back.
She back, she good. Thank you. You said everything. But it is, yes, I was like, yeah, that's exactly it.
It was more just like focusing on big national team tournaments and not like the league that everyone plays in
Yeah.
between.
Yep.
Well, and I will just say in our defense, it is very difficult to find these games. It
Yes.
used to be
Yes.
very difficult to find these
I
games.
mean, it's still difficult to find.
and it's still you have to
games.
put
Yeah.
some work in. So, that is a barrier for some people.
Yeah.
And when you have to like go through pages and pages of articles to try to figure out when a game is being played,
Totally.
it's a pain in the ass. So
Yes.
Yeah,
Agreed.
you're right.
I remember back in middle school when they would have like the shock tickets. Like occasionally you would walk in
Yes.
somewhere and there'd be like vouchers.
Yep.
I'm like, I'm going to see a Shocks game.
Going to see
Totally.
the shot.
Yeah.
Totally.
You probably sat next to Julia. I
Yep.
was on the other side of Julia.
Yeah.
on the other side. Yeah.
never went.
No.
What a shame. Are you
So
upset
sad.
about it? I mean,
I
I'm
am.
only 70% sure that I actually did go.
I think you did.
I think you did.
I did go
I
to
think I did, but I'm
I
not
did go to
sure.
like Vipers games.
I was gonna say that
Same.
and Vipers were ones that I felt like when I was younger there were vouchers for occasionally. That you
Yes,
would like.
but I don't even know like were they like what is the Vipers?
It's like
They were
minor
hockey,
league
right?
hockey.
Minor league?
Yeah.
Okay. I knew it was hockey, but I was like, they had a cool logo too.
Yeah.
It was like
Detroit's
snake.
getting a minor league basketball team, I think, or like the Detroit Crew.
Can they just get a WNBA team?
Well, they had one and they
I know, and
gave them
they
the
fucked it up.
Oh.
I would take
Ugh.
a soccer and basketball team.
I would
In
love
Detroit.
a soccer. I think that like there's the market for it around here, kind of like people get so into city games. But we did learn
Yeah.
that there is a women's city team now that
Yep.
I would like to go to. And remember, I
Yeah.
found those other ones. There's like a Corktown team and like a
That's true,
another
yes.
one. There's a few different women's teams that are like semi-pro.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go play for them.
The
Do it.
market's there and we're just swimming in it. And if
We
you
just
tell
have to
me that's
swim.
mixed metaphors, I will I was gonna say kill you, but I didn't want to
You'll
be like
agree.
that. I didn't want to be like
I will
that
kill
mean
you.
senior on your team.
Yeah.
I will hook you up to the STEM machine.
Yeah,
Turn it on.
Okay, guys, we're coming up on an hour here. Oh, I just got a package.
Ooh, what is it? Open
Ooh.
it on camera.
I actually have no idea.
Okay,
James
that
is
always
making
makes
a
me
face.
nervous.
Is there anything else we want to touch on, either news-wise or any last things we want to talk about?
We did.
I did want to say that the U.S. women's national team, they're at their like pre-game camp in the Netherlands, and Alex Morgan's there with baby Charlie,
Oh my God.
and there's some cute content. And just thinking of like the team meeting her baby and like playing with her baby, like makes me really happy.
There was a video, you guys sent it in our chat, but so Leah, Alex Morgan is probably the this is a bad analogy, but the Mia Hamm of today.
Okay.
They're all kind
No,
of
that's good to know because I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, but she's like the star forward or whatever. But she
Okay.
just had a baby, so she's just now coming back from everything, and so the whole national team is out in Netherlands now. They're gonna play that game on Friday that you and Mike are coming over for, and
It's a date.
yeah, and so she's got this baby, and you guys sent this video. I couldn't tell who that was that fell on the ground laughing.
That was Alex
that her?
Morgan,
Was that?
who
No, I
scared
Oh my
thought it
God,
was-
that's so
I
I
cute.
thought it
it
was
was her.
Kelly.
No, you can hear her laughing
couldn't
in the
tell.
background, but I think it's.
Oh,
I
I'll
think
have to
it's
watch it again.
Her own mother
That's really funny.
did that
That's
to
really
her.
funny.
I
That's
loved
even
it.
They were just
cuter.
like, it's a video of them like scaring Charlie, the baby, and she jumps
And then she
then
laughs
just like goes
and-
back to
yeah,
normal.
it's really cute.
She like laughs and then it's like, wait,
Very
why are you
funny.
all laughing at me? And like, why is my mother rolling around on the ground? Like, what has happened?
Yeah,
But-
she
These are
gets
so
self-conscious.
funny.
I don't think they scared her on purpose. I think they just wanted to like see what she.
They were
would
just
do. She,
peekabooing.
like, got
Yeah,
startled.
when
It
you
was
like
funny,
when
yeah.
you like pop out and like make a baby laugh.
Exactly.
Are any do you know if any of the players had parents who were like professional athletes? Is it like a family business, like how actors you're like more likely to go into
Yeah.
acting if you have parents who are actors? Or
I am
They're at the age
not
where they
a clue.
could.
I
don't
don't know.
think
I
any of
think
them-
I know that in the WNBA, there's some players whose like parents played in college, and maybe like I think more college level, but not professional. But I definitely think like sport is like part of their family history.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And I think
Someone
we'll see
email
more.
Soccer HQ at what's their, is it AOL, Hotmail?
SoccerHQ at AOL.com.
at AOL.com, and it's them.
Yeah.
Our go-to for any sports inquiries.
I know when I was watching the softball games this summer, there were a few people that like someone played for the Italian team because their mom played for the Italian team, but that's the only one that I can think of. I can't think of any that like had well-known athletes in America.
We actually did have a girl in our high school. Her grandfather was Al Kaline, so he played for the Tigers, and every ump would love to give her it because her back of her jersey said Kaline, so they'd be like, "Oh, do you play as good as your grandpa?" And she hated it, like she literally hated it.
Say it again, and I will kill you.
Yeah.
What's the girl that threatened everyone?
I'm gonna have to confirm with Ben, but I feel like he played in a league with Kaline's grandson. Does that sound like it could have been a thing?
I do think she had a brother.
Okay,
so that's probably.
Ben has played in a league with everybody.
I know.
And by
truly.
everyone, I mean Al Kaline's grandson and Bethany Balser.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember the Hey Arnold episode where
Let me hear
Arnold's
it.
like talking about Mickey Kaline,
No.
who's like a fake?
I need more.
He's a
details.
baseball player. Mickey Kaline in the show is a baseball player, but I think he's like a washed up baseball player, and Arnold like teaches him how to like live his life with joy.
I bet he
again or
didn't
something.
want Arnold there, and Arnold just kept coming back like the lady
That's
that lived
Arnold
on the island.
Yeah. But they like totally stole the Kaline name, but just like put
They just changed the
Mickey.
first
I was
name.
like, who are they talking
Mickey.
about? I wonder.
They're like, is it Mickey Mantle or Al Kaline? You be the judge. No one can sue us.
Oh,
Exactly.
That's so funny.
LOL.
That's so cool.
Oh. Thank you so much for coming on, Leah. This is
Thank
so
you for
fun.
having me. I love
it's
this.
just-
I feel like I'm on the path to growing as a person by starting to support like women in sports.
Yay. We're doing
become
it,
a
guys. We're
fan,
doing
yeah.
it.
We've converted one person.
Someone give us what are the ESPN awards called?
ESPYs.
Speed.
Oh yeah, give us an ESPN.
I'll check in 6 months and let you know how many games I've tuned into.
Yes. Good.
At
Even
least
if
the
it's
one on Friday.
one, then that's
We've
awesome.
done our duty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Oh, you are a joy. For the record, Leah's good.
She's good.
She's good.
She's
good.
good.
I appreciate that. Thanks for having me again. You guys
Yes.
have been so fun.
Oh,
You girls, you ladies, you women.
we'll take any. We'll take any of it.
I'll take
Hannah.
any of it. Yeah.
Anything you want to give us. Well, thanks
good.
everyone for listening and or watching. And we'll see you next time. Be sure to catch the game on Friday, November
27th,
27th. Mary Beth's birthday.
Mary Beth's birthday.
12:30 p.m. Everybody.
12:30 p.m. And while you do it, be sure to give Mary Beth a birthday shout out. Thank you again to our guest, Leia Gibbard. And we'll see you soon.
Yay.
Yay.